Alpine Shire Council shuts down as a police manhunt continues. A Metro mayor facing charges stands aside. Many Melbourne councils predicted to fall short of government housing targets. Sydney councils at odds with the state government over planning proposals. Government intervention looms for 2 WA councils. CEO appointments and resignations in Victoria and New South Wales. Concerns over leaked details of a CEO's employment conditions. And counting continues in key NT mayoral races. Hello, I'm Chris Eddy. It's Wednesday the 27th of August and you've come to the right place for the latest on local government happenings across Australia and beyond. It's the Local Government News Roundup, brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government. The Mayor of Alpine Shire Council, Sarah Nicholas, has posted an emotional message to the community after yesterday's shocking events at Porpunka in northeast Victoria, where 2 police officers were killed and another was injured. As at the time of recording, the culprit is still at large and a manhunt continues. Councillor Nicholas extended heartfelt condolences to all those impacted by the event and advised that all council facilities were closed until further notice. The council meeting scheduled for last night has been postponed for 2 weeks. Maribyrnong Mayor Councillor Pradeep Tiwari has stepped aside from his duties as mayor and councillor after being charged with traffic offences, including dangerous driving. The charges relate to an alleged incident last June before he was elected to council. The council said the mayor had stood down in accordance with Local Government Act requirements and while a legal process was underway. It said it was a personal matter for Councillor Tiwari and it would make no further comment at this time. Councillor Tiwari told the Star Weekly that he expected the matter to be resolved within weeks, not months, and that he hoped to return to his role before the end of his mayoral term in November. Deputy Mayor Councillor Bernadette Thomas will take on the role of acting mayor in the interim. Nearly 3/4 of Melbourne's councils are projected to miss housing targets set by the state government by approximately 500,000 homes, according to an analysis by The Age. Councils say they approve most building applications but are limited by the construction sector's capacity and argue that the government's targets are unrealistic. While some suggest it's too early to judge the program's success, the Planning Minister Sonia Kilkenny said there would be a crackdown on councils not committed to approving more dwellings. Whitehorse and Darebin councils are among those forecast to fall short of targets by more than 50,000 homes each, while 6 councils on the city's urban fringe with available land for development are on track to exceed their targets. Andrew Tenney has been unanimously appointed as the new CEO of Colac-Otway Shire following a vote at a council meeting this week. Mayor Jason Schramm announced the appointment, noting that Mr Tenney has been serving in an interim capacity and previously held the position of General Manager of Corporate Services for 3 years. Mr Tenney brings executive experience as the former CEO of the Magistrates Court of Victoria and has held senior leadership positions in state government. The Mayor expressed confidence that the appointment will help the council maintain focus on economic development, tourism opportunities and essential community services. Campaspe Shire Council is taking concerns about renewable energy project assessments to the MAV's State Council in October, advocating for transparent processes that don't bypass community input following controversial approvals like the Kuba solar farm. The council is also pushing for support in water recovery, flood mitigation infrastructure and rural public housing investments to protect local communities and ensure their voices are heard. Southern Grampians Shire Council has invited Prime Minister Anthony Albanese to visit the region to witness firsthand the severe impact of unprecedented drought conditions on the local farming community and economy. The drought has devastated farmers economically and mentally, with below-average rainfall in 2025 indicating conditions may worsen compared to 2024. The council has been actively advocating for better targeted drought support through various initiatives, including collaboration with other Victorian councils, meetings with agricultural departments and pushing for policy changes to better support affected farmers. Wodonga Council has narrowly voted 3-2 against providing a submission to the Victorian Gambling and Casino Control Commission, objecting to an application for 70 poker machines. The Border Mail reported that the decision contrasts with the council's previous position in June, when it voted to oppose a similar application for 75 machines from the same hotel owner. Councillors who voted against the submission argued for personal choice and free market principles, while those supporting it cited concerns about economic impact and gambling addiction. The shift in position follows the recent resignation of Hannah Seymour, a position yet to be filled with a by-election scheduled in the weeks ahead. A field of 6 candidates will contest the by-election after the close of nominations yesterday. Former Casey mayors at the centre of the Operation Sandon corruption investigation are calling for the independent broad-based Anti-Corruption Commission to end all public hearings, according to the Berwick Star News. In a joint submission to a state parliament inquiry, Sam Aziz, Lorraine Reeford and Janet Halsall have claimed that the public examinations cause irreparable reputational damage to witnesses. Their stance directly contradicts former IBAC Commissioner Robert Redlick, who oversaw Operation Sandon. He's called for expanded powers for public hearings, arguing they serve the public good by increasing transparency and deterring corruption. The investigation examines serious corruption allegations involving planning and development decisions at Casey Council, leading to the sacking of all councillors in 2020. Despite extensive public hearings and adverse findings against some witnesses, no charges have been filed in connection with the investigation. And the MAV has established a Future is Local task force to develop a sector-wide response to major challenges reshaping local government. The task force, comprising experts from within and outside the sector, will create a framework for action on issues like climate volatility, demographic shifts, digital technologies, social fragmentation and infrastructure resilience. Findings from the task force's work will be discussed at the MAV's Future is Local conference in October. In today's news briefs, Alpine Shire Council has submitted the name Honora Fields to Geographic Names Victoria for a new suburb in Pakenham East that will accommodate 7,000 new homes. The proposed name honours Honora Carney, whose family has historical ties to the land dating back to 1869 and still reside in the area today. Murrindindi Shire's National Tree Day celebrations resulted in 3,861 native plants being added across 10 sites, with participation from 200 students, teachers, community volunteers and land care members. Despite weather challenges, the widespread community effort fostered environmental stewardship while providing educational experiences for students. And Greater Shepparton City Council is beginning the first stage of restoration work on the fire-damaged Ted Davis Grandstand at Mooroopna Recreation Reserve, with partial demolition starting next month. The project aims to carefully preserve the heritage-listed structure that was damaged by fire in February this year, with materials being retained for assessment and potential reuse in future restoration. The Local Government News Roundup is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association. Here is a message from the VLGA, who tell me that places are filling fast for their mayoral leadership program coming up in November. And if you want to secure your place, you really do need to act quickly. The program is in its second year and is designed to equip mayors and deputy mayors with the knowledge they need to lead their council effectively and with good governance at their foundation. It's now mandatory for mayors and deputy mayors to undertake training at the commencement of each mayoral term. Under the new Victorian government reforms, this training must be completed by the 31st of December. The VLGA's Mayoral Leadership Program is a full-day program covering the roles and responsibilities of a mayor, the mayor-CEO relationship, how to chair a council meeting, managing difficult conversations, dispute resolution and effective communications and media training. It's being held on Friday the 28th of November from 9:30 to 4:30 at the Monash Conference Centre at 30 Collins Street in Melbourne. So book now to secure your place for this year's VLGA Mayoral Leadership Program. More details from the VLGA, head to their website vlga.org.au. To our New South Wales report now, and Cumberland Council and the New South Wales Government are at odds over plans to convert 45 hectares of green space at Carnarvon Golf Course into a cemetery. Cumberland City Mayor Ola Hamed has criticised the proposal, arguing that Western Sydney is already doing the heavy lifting for Sydney's problems and questioning why alternative sites in Sydney's east aren't being considered. The council has unanimously voted to fight the plans. It says the region already hosts Rookwood Cemetery, the largest cemetery in the Southern Hemisphere. A public rally has been organised by member for Auburn Linda Volz. It'll be held this Sunday at Coleman Park, and the council is urging residents to attend. The state government is also copping criticism from Woollahra Council over a plan to build 10,000 new apartments and revive an abandoned railway station. Mayor Sarah Dixon has questioned how the proposal will address housing affordability, with only 1,000 units designated as affordable housing. The Mayor expressed concerns about potential overdevelopment in an already densely populated area, suggesting the project could result in 50 apartment towers of at least 30 stories and disregard existing heritage conservation areas. She called on Premier Minns to ensure the project benefits young renters and homeowners rather than primarily serving developers' interests. Lake Macquarie City Council will soon be searching for new leadership after CEO Morven Cameron announced she'll step down next month after 8 years at the helm. Ms Cameron has served the community for a total of 19 years in various roles and will conclude her tenure on the 12th of September. Deputy CEO Tony Farrell will be stepping in as interim leader. During her time as CEO, Ms Cameron has been credited with guiding the city's economic transition away from traditional mining and heavy industry toward a more diverse economy focused on services, hospitality and innovation. The City of Coffs Harbour has appointed a new general manager to help navigate the coastal region's rapid growth. Murray Wood, currently the CEO of Dubbo Regional Council, was confirmed as the successful applicant by the council during an extraordinary meeting this week. Mayor Nikki Williams expressed confidence in the appointment, stating that, "For me, this was never just about finding someone to manage the organisation. It was about finding the right person for the city and for our team." Mr Wood brings extensive experience in local government, having held senior roles with Dubbo since 2003 and previously serving as Director of Industry Development within the Department of Regional New South Wales. He'll commence his role on the 8th of December. And Griffith City Council has welcomed its new general manager this week. Scott Grant began his role on Monday, bringing over 14 years of leadership experience across various sectors, including previous positions with Campbelltown City Council, Cricket Australia and the Hyundai Motor Company. His appointment followed the retirement of long-serving general manager Brett Stonestreet, who stepped down officially on the 21st of August. Meanwhile, a panel of 10 people, including 9 councillors and a recruitment consultant, will be formed to select the next permanent general manager for Eurobodalla Shire Council. The position is expected to be advertised this week, but a final decision is not expected until late October. It follows the departure of Warwick Wynne in March after 2 years in the role. On to Queensland, and there are calls for early consultation and greater clarity on a Queensland state government plan to establish a Sunshine Coast Waterways Authority. $35.6 million has been allocated over 3 years for the new authority to manage local waterways and improve community engagement. Noosa Mayor Frank Wilkie is among those looking for more detail. He told the Sunshine Coast News that his council will be proactively working with the government to understand the intended role of the proposed new authority, which is intended to provide a one-stop shop for waterway management while addressing pressing issues in areas such as the Pumicestone Passage, Noosa River and Mooloolaba Harbour. Fraser Coast Regional Council has officially joined the Reef Guardian Council program, a partnership aimed at protecting the Great Barrier Reef and its connected waterways through environmental initiatives. The program, led by the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority, now includes 21 councils, covering over 76% of the reef catchment and representing more than 1.2 million people. The Fraser Coast region, including the Great Sandy Biosphere, plays a crucial role in protecting biodiversity, with marine species like whales, dugongs and turtles migrating through the area and into the broader reef system. And Frank Beveridge, a former Charters Towers mayor and councillor, has passed away, leaving behind a legacy of integrity and dedicated public service that helped to shape North Queensland. His leadership contributions to regional development and community well-being earned him deep respect across the region, and the council has extended condolences to his wife Sharon, family and friends. Vale, Frank Beveridge. Coming up, we'll check in on the counting in the Northern Territory mayoral election results and tell you about government intervention looming for 2 councils in Western Australia. But first, here are some more news briefs. Blacktown City Council is working with an ecologist to create artificial hollows in trees, providing essential habitat for local wildlife that would normally take a century to form naturally. It's part of a broader 5-year vegetation management plan to conserve critically endangered Cumberland Plain woodland and improve biodiversity in the area. Toowoomba Council engineer Blaise Shan has been named the prestigious National IPWEA Public Works Leader of the Year at the International Public Works Conference in Sydney. His achievement recognises exceptional leadership in managing Toowoomba's $300 million flood recovery program and reflects positively on the Council's commitment to excellence in public works engineering. And Sunshine Coast Council has allocated $300,000 to explore options for a new community facility in the Maroochydore City Centre. Sunshine Coast News reported the aim is to create a welcoming and vibrant space separate from the proposed exhibition and convention facility. This is the Local Government News Roundup for Wednesday, the 27th of August. It's edition number 483. With still much to tell you about, down in Tasmania there are concerns at Launceston City Council, which has approved a $27,690 Harvard University professional development course for its chief executive Sam Johnson. It's drawn some criticism amid rising rates and cost of living pressures. ABC News reported that Mr Johnson has deferred attendance until next year due to concerns about councillor interactions with operational staff, though the council has already paid for the course. Local Government Association of Tasmania President Mick Tucker defended professional development investments as necessary for maintaining high standards in local government. Mr Johnson has raised concerns about the leaking of his confidential employment information and has requested a legal review of the situation. In South Australia, Burnside Council has taken extraordinary measures to address what experts are calling a dysfunctional workplace culture. According to the Advertiser, the council has voted to implement 6 recommendations from a Healthier Council Culture report, including the elimination of pre-meeting meals and moving all briefings online, steps designed to limit face-to-face interactions between councillors. Councillor Mike Dawes, who proposed the changes, cited serious risks to psychological safety among council members. The confidential report apparently found widespread division, incivility and antipathy toward Mayor Anne Monceau. In a 7-4 vote, the council also approved having independent consultants handle member complaints rather than the mayor. The council's acting CEO, Matt Spearman, said the measures aim to improve culture and reduce legal costs for ratepayers. And the Australian government has announced a new round of funding totalling $8.5 million to address ongoing impacts of harmful algal blooms in South Australia, including $4 million in direct funding to local governments. The funding complements the existing $28 million support package and introduces additional measures for scientific research, monitoring and testing capabilities. There's turmoil in Western Australia this week, where the town of Port Hedland Mayor Peter Carter has resigned with immediate effect. He said his decision was not made lightly and comes after thorough consideration of his options. His resignation leaves the council without a quorum for the second time in 6 years. The town said it's awaiting advice from the Department of Local Government on next steps. In May this year, Local Government Minister Hannah Beazley said she'd commenced groundwork to install a commissioner if required, after 4 councillors resigned in a 6-month period. The council has been operating with the minimum number of councillors, 5, since that time. Meanwhile, the Shire of Coolgardie in the state's Goldfields region has been given a 3-week ultimatum by the minister to justify why the council shouldn't be suspended due to serious financial issues. ABC News reported the minister's move is the result of extremely serious financial issues and doubts that it will be able to return to a stable financial position. And now let's look at the latest on counting in the Northern Territory mayoral elections. 58.2% of votes have been counted in the Darwin Lord mayoralty race, and incumbent Con Vatskalis trails former CLP Deputy Chief Minister Peter Stiles by 2.1%. They're sitting on 20.7% and 22.8% of first preference votes respectively. In Alice Springs, with 51.1% of the vote counted, Astor Hill holds a slender lead with 33.2% of first preference votes, ahead of incumbent councillor Eli Melky with 31.6%. Athena Pascoe Bell is all but certain to retain the mayoralty in Palmerston, with 50.3% of first preferences after 48.2% of votes counted. The vote for mayor in Lichfield has Rachel Wright at 38.8%, attempting to go from incumbent councillor to mayor. She's 8.8% ahead of incumbent mayor Doug Barden on first preferences. And Joanna Holden continues to hold a strong lead in Katherine with 41.5% of first preference votes. Her nearest competitor is Wayne Connop on 11.8%. A field of 7 is trying to succeed Elizabeth Clark, who's retired after 5 years as mayor and 17 on the council. Let's check out a few stories from overseas before we leave you in this edition. In the UK, communities are losing valuable public facilities as cash-strapped councils sell off assets to tackle mounting debts. A BBC investigation has revealed that local authorities are collectively £122 billion in debt, forcing many to dispose of schools, care homes and community centres. In South London, Croydon Council, facing a staggering £1.5 billion debt burden, has sold £210 million worth of public property over the last 4 years. Meanwhile, in Greenwich, an Olympic legacy equestrian centre opened by Princess Anne in 2013 is now slated for sale, despite community efforts to save it. The crisis stems from years of reduced central government funding, with council spending power down 18% per person compared to 2010, according to the Institute for Fiscal Studies. 1/3 of councils report they risk going bankrupt within 5 years without funding reform. Scottish councils' collective debt has increased to £19.2 billion, with borrowing being used to fund essential infrastructure projects rather than day-to-day operations. In the US, the Jacksonville City Council's Finance Committee has voted this week to remove funding for a city suite used by the mayor and council members at Jaguars Football Club home games, ending an arrangement that has existed since 1995. USA Today reported that the council president, Kevin Carrico, plans to introduce legislation that would prevent elected officials from receiving any free Jaguars tickets. The elimination of funding only affects the city suite at Everbank Stadium and doesn't impact free tickets to other events at city venues like baseball games, arena football, hockey and concerts. Edmonton City Council in Canada has approved a $400 million deal that includes building a new event park next to Rogers Place and funding the demolition of the old Coliseum. CTV News reported the project includes contributions from the Alberta government of $183 million, $138 million from the city and $87 million from the Oilers Entertainment Group. The agreement, which passed with a 9-4 vote despite concerns about housing requirements and potential competition with existing conference centres, includes commitments from OEG to build 774 housing units over the next decade. And Wellington City Council in New Zealand has revealed a plan to address homelessness and safety issues in Newtown, proposing to install a social services team at the community centre immediately rather than implementing a uniformed safety patrol. Radio New Zealand reported the plan includes physical improvements such as upgraded lighting, solar-powered CCTV and hotspots, and public needle disposal bins, which would require budget allocations to be discussed with councillors in September. Officials also suggested community-led solutions, including weekly social agency action days, addiction service meetings and neighbourhood clean-up initiatives, noting that Newtown has not received the same level of safety investment as Wellington CBD, which has a $40 million 10-year safety plan. You've been listening to the Local Government News Roundup, edition number 483, recorded on the morning of Wednesday, the 27th of August, 2025. If you have comments or feedback, you can send an email to lgweeklynews@gmail.com, and you can get more details about this episode, including story links, at lgnewsroundup.com. The podcast is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government. And thanks to those of you who help make the podcast possible by supporting us through a monthly subscription. Support starts at $3 per month, around $5 Australian, and you can cancel your subscription at any time. The Roundup is recorded in the city of Greater Geelong, Victoria, on the land of the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. Until next time, thanks for listening, and bye for now. The VLGA is offering a special councillor professional development intensive series. Partner with 3 other councils and save more than 50% off the minimum cost of completing all 13 modules in Year 1. The intensives will be held over 3 days. They're cost-effective, time-efficient and promote the benefits of peer-to-peer and face-to-face learning. In addition to the intensives and in recognition that every council has different needs, the VLGA also offers bespoke training options, both online and in person. A faculty of facilitators will work with you to customise a program that responds directly to the unique professional development needs of your council. To find out more, head to www.vlga.org.au.